Tip number 1, notes are necessary. Of course, when you're listening to a lecture or reading a narrative, there's a lot of sensory input surrounding you that you're not paying attention to. Most of the things you're perceiving do not need to be remembered. But whenever you write down a note about something you want to remember, whether during a lecture or reading, you're doing two important brain tasks. First, you're paying attention, which ensures that encoding takes place. And second, you're summarizing information, which enhances rehearsal and consolidation. But what happens when you aren't taking notes? Won't you still remember it later? Well, maybe not. Research shows that an hour after hearing something, we'll forget more than half of what we heard, unless we do something intentional to remember it. Ebbinghaus showed us how quickly we forget things. In just 20 minutes, we've forgotten more than a third of what we've just heard, and a day later, we've forgotten 2/3. That is, if we haven't done something to help us remember. Most of the time, you'll take notes to help remember what you're learning. Here's why we recommend taking handwritten notes.
Writing down your notes could help you pass your classes. Note-taking is very difficult. You have to listen, understand, and transcribe concepts all at the same time. You kind of have to get what note-taking is all about in the brain. There are two ways that researchers think note-taking affects your learning: the encoding hypothesis and the external storage hypothesis. Encoding is when, during the note-taking process, you listen and understand what's being said, then write it down in the time allotted before the speaker moves on to a new topic. It's tough. External storage is your brain storing information outside of itself, so it can retrieve it later. When you're writing out notes, although you're writing fewer words than when you're typing verbatim, your brain is actively summarizing the lecture material. You're encoding messages for yourself onto paper. Then when you reread the handwritten material, that's called enhanced encoding. Means you're both encoding and storing the knowledge externally, and that's considered a superior method for concepts.
The good news from this information is that by taking notes, you kickstart your brain to organize concepts in a way that makes it easier to retrieve them later. Summarizing what you are hearing or reading engages your brain in rehearsal processes that immediately start to strengthen ideas as they're prepared to be consolidated into long-term memory. Of course, the sooner you take notes, the less forgetting occurs. And handwriting notes keeps you attentive and actively engaged in the material in ways that are typically lacking when you type verbatim on a laptop. So notes are definitely necessary. Thank you for watching this tutorial about learning. I hope it helps you on your educational journey. See you next time.